Hey, what's up, Sam?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining me on Screams from the Basement. Brock, Dakota, I got to watch Hellcat this weekend. I really loved it. It
Great.
is such a cool, like, chamber piece of a movie that we're not going to spoil anything in this interview because I want people to be surprised by it.
Yeah,
But
love it.
yeah,
Um, let me just say are you a big Weird Al fan? Or do you
I
just like it because he
am.
has a Leatherface? Okay. So I was just at Fantasia and I was pitching a project or whatever, and it was like 2 weeks ago or something, and we were walking to this after party, me and this girl whose project I was working on. And we walked past, and we're in Montreal, right? And we walked past I hear what sounds like someone covering Gangster's Paradise, and I'm like, that's such a weird thing. And then I was like, oh, it's somebody covering Amish Paradise. That's even weirder. And as I got closer, I was like, holy shit, that's a Weird Al. And I just walked up on a Weird Al show and it was packed. And we were in the back, and I was like, oh my God. And my friends were like, hey, let's go. Let's go to this party. I'm like, are you guys kidding me right now? Weird Al is playing a free show and we are right here seeing it. You want to go to some like loud party and talk to people? Like Weird Al is right there. Like, let's stay here. So everyone left, and then me and the girl she's younger and she liked Weird Al's like newer stuff. And all I knew was kind of this older stuff. And she was like loving it. I'm like, this is so, I've never seen Weird Al, but I loved it back in the 90s. And I was like, oh, so cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's funny. I was like, and I sent them a text, I'm like, guys, Weird Al is playing. You should come back. And they're like, no, you guys are not my friends. You don't.
Yeah, you made the right choice there. This poster's from my first Weird Al concert. I just saw him this past summer, and it's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
awesome. That was so fun.
yeah, that's amazing. Um,
And I'm a huge Joe Bob fan, by the way.
oh
Monster
God,
Vision is what got me basically like into horror as much as I love it.
hell yeah, yeah. I mean, Joe Bob's the best. And Hellcat is kind of a great Joe Bob movie. Like, I feel like this is one that
No,
Joe Bob would. I don't know if he's seen it or not, but I feel like this is one he would appreciate because it's like it's independent, it's low budget, it's a chamber piece, but what you do with it is so creative. So how did the idea for Hellcat come about? And how did you come into this project too?
the idea was kind of out of necessity. I was like, I felt this compulsion to make a film. I'd made a short before that did really well, and I tried to get people to give me a bunch of money to make a feature, and it just didn't really pan out. And I was like, okay, I got to make something cheap, and easy, not easy, but cheap, so that I can cobble together money so that I can have control over it and like make it, what I really want it to be. And I was like, one location, one person. That's kind of the ideal scenario. There's few versions of that I've really loved. Like I love Saw and love like Cube and a couple other like really small stuff. But I was like, I haven't seen anything in the back of the trailer, and I really love kind of like Americana, like diners and Airstreams and drive-in movie theaters and stuff like that. So I was like, well, Airstream would be rad. I could do that. And um, I have to give props to my wife. We were in a Home Depot parking lot, and a guy pulled up next to us in a box truck and ripped the back open. And I was like, oh man, that would be wild if like he ripped that open and there was like somebody back there that was like captured and like slammed it down really quick. And I was like, oh shit, that's kind of that could be cool if it was in one location. And then I was like, yeah, but it can't be in a dark room like that. I was like, well, it could be in an Airstream, and like kind of we're off to the races. And then we had to find like one person who could kind of carry the entire film, which was the scariest part because that could have gone south very easily. And found Dakota, and she was like the one, and that's basically how it all kind of came together.
Yeah. So Dakota, what drew you to this role in particular? Because for most of this movie, it is like it's a one woman show. Like you are front and center. You carry this.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. This desk I'm on keeps just moving on its own, so I'm trying to listen and do this at the same time. No, um I got the audition, just like a regular audition, and I told this to Brock later. I was like, I was having this really fun existential crisis right before this audition came through, and I think my mentality at the time was kind of like fuck it. I just want to have fun with this because it's probably going to be a no anyway. So like who cares? And there was something in the material that really excited me, and I can't talk about it because it will ruin it. But based off that, I'm sure you know what it is, and I was like, what an opportunity! This is like a childhood dream of mine. Like I've grown up on horror movies. Anyways, so when I went in for the audition, I think I don't know if it was instincts or just what I was working on in class at the time when I was studying with Margie Haber, but uh I was like, I just feel like I would want to watch someone trying to get out instead of feeling desperate, and just like finding the joy in that, and being like, if I was a young girl watching this, like I'd want to see a character that I'm like, oh, like I want to like be her for Halloween, or I want to be like a badass like that, because film has been so influential to me in my life. Like it has shaped my perspective. It's at times been like, maybe I need to reassess my personality. And so I know that's like getting too deep about it probably, but I just saw a lot of opportunity for play in that stuff there. And so I think I just had fun, and I was like, and then Brock picked up on that and was like, yeah, that's different, and whatever. I don't want to speak for you, but from what I've gathered, that's how you felt.
Yeah, I mean, there were tons of people who tried out for the part, and Dakota was the one. And I didn't really give much direction at all because I just wanted to see where they would kind of inherently take it, because it's basically like the first scene in the movie, and I wanted to see like what kind of character they would wake up as in the back of a trailer. And a very kind of, I think the idea of, and like no fault of theirs, but I think a lot of, almost everybody went with the idea of like damsel in distress waking up and being terrified. And Dakota woke up and was like, I need answers. And like, you better fucking tell them to me now, or we're gonna have problems. And that was something that just jumped out at me, where I was like, okay, right out of the gate, her chops are incredible. Like she's on the level without a doubt, but also that like I felt like there was a mind meld a bit from afar, where I was like, she gets what this is supposed to be, and only from a small scene. And that was like her inherent nature, was to be strong and to be like badass. And I had my daughter was 2 years old at that time, and I want her to be a badass. I don't want her to be scared. I want her to be, and this movie's a lot about family. And it like kind of bleeds through it. And like, I was like, okay, I want my daughter to be like her if she ever woke up in a scenario like that. So, and then after like talking to her a little bit more and getting to know her and having her read some more stuff, it was like, oh, yeah, she has to be the one to carry this movie. Like, she's the one.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so true. Like Lena is, she does everything right in this movie. Like every decision that's made is something that's like, yeah, that's a rational way of looking at this, of how to get out of this situation. Like, so what were the challenges of filming inside a like quote unquote moving trailer? I know it probably wasn't moving for most of the time, but like you have the motion of the trailer the entire way through. So like what was the actual filming in that like?
I mean, Dakota should speak to that. She was on the thing more than anybody.
Yeah, we had some really buff people when we wrapped. So there were people shaking the trailer, which honestly seems like a harder job than what I had to do. But it was funny because we'd break for lunch, and me and whoever was operating camera that day, whether it was Andy or Josh, and then Griffin, our sound guy, we'd get off and we're like, should we eat on the trailer? Because now nothing's moving and we feel so sick. But you adjust to it, and I don't know, like, I don't know what it was about this set, but there was never a moment where I was like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, I don't know if it was everyone's attitude of being like, this is what we're doing, we're just playing, we're figuring it out, like, let's go. But there was such a level of collaboration and camaraderie that everything felt like an opportunity more than a challenge. And like, even having, the camera this close, I never was aware of that for some reason. And I don't know fully what that is, but it was definitely like one of the most magical sets I've ever worked on. And you work on sets and you build friendships, you're close with people, and you get along fine, but like I like love this cast and crew truly. Like I cry when I think about this movie every time. I've cried leaving set because I was like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. It was just a really special experience, and I think you can like feel that in the energy and like the play that you brought into it. It's really hard to talk about without giving anything away, so I'm gonna zip it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. That was like definitely the vibe we were trying to facilitate was like, it gets, I mean, I don't know how many people you talk to, Sam, where it's like, who've made a lot of movies. This is my first. And to me, and we're in Nashville, like we made the film in Nashville. And
Right.
I lived in Los Angeles and I've been around the industry before, and it's great and it's cool. But like, we're in a place where making movies is like still feels really kind of magical. And there was a sense on set that like, hey, we're not doing this thing where we're like, oh, we're just in the industry, we're making movies, we make movies, that's what we do. Um, I mean, I came in as the director and I was like, holy shit, gang, like we're about to make a movie. Like, this is a fucking movie. Like we're making a horror film. Like I've been wanting to do this since I was a child. Like even when I was like first just kind of addressing everyone in the beginning, like I just started crying. Like I'm an emotional beast, and like it felt like just such a like a dream come true for me to do this thing. And I think that like, that was how I tried to treat everybody. And I think everybody kind of locked into the fact that like they were helping the oldest dude on set make his dreams come true. And I think it like helped allow people to feel like safe to try things. And it's a low budget film, so time is of the essence. And I wish we could have played around a lot more, but we tried to. There's like a couple day nights after we got everything done where we had like 30 minutes and we do some like weird trippy stuff, like just Dakota looking in the camera and or like these like weird still portraiture type, and they all made it into the film. And like all those kind of like just things where it's like we're just like kids exploring, and it's a beautiful like new world for us. So it's kind of like the world that I was trying to help facilitate, and I think it helped everyone feel like it wasn't extremely stressful, and it was more just like this is what we all want to do.
I don't mean to run this answer into the ground, but it makes me want to say one thing, which is like, I think people rush through the filming process and focus too much on like, we got to get everything in the can and like get into post, when it's like, when you're on set, like the editing room is an art. That's its own thing, but so is the set. Like that's when you're creating the pieces for the editor to play with. And if you don't give that the time, attention, nurturing, curiosity that it deserves, like there's a deficit there, I think. And what I love about horror films is there's always room to play and not take it overly seriously. And I'm really happy we leaned into that.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned like the fun coming through in this movie, and it really does. Like there's an energy here that you don't get with people who have made, 5 or 6 movies and are on movie number 7. Like there's something about a debut film too that is like so energetic. And I think that this movie has that. And it's not necessarily a like it's not a horror comedy. Like I wouldn't consider it a horror comedy, but there are moments of levity, like not spoiling anything, but a disco ball makes an appearance, and it like honestly, like it was such a tension breaker. It made me laugh so hard. And then, it comes back later and all that. But like what was it like finding that tone, finding that like we're having fun, but the material is serious. Like I got choked up a few times, there are some really cool moments. So what was it like balancing like we're making a fun horror movie with like we're taking the horror seriously still though?
Well, I think like as a writer, I've been a writer for a really long time, and I've always loved the tonal balance of scary and funny because I think they very closely touch up next to one another. And I think you see that in examples of like people laughing when they're extremely uncomfortable or scared. People going through a haunted house are usually screaming and laughing, right? And that's that kind of thing. And that I think people like Craven and John Carpenter just like absolutely aced. And those are two of my favorite filmmakers. And like to me, the kind of main rule is like as long as it's coming from, if as long as the character would say something ridiculous like that, or say something like it's coming out of like innocence, not trying to tell a joke as much, and where this incredible character that Todd crafted for himself, where he has this very kind of like, deep Southern drawl and feels very like comforting and warm and like almost like this like real cowboy Ned Flanders type. At the same time, is like scared and by himself and like is like malleable and kind of has had his life completely kind of taken over by being brainwashed by like a radio show because he's by himself. He's got nobody else to really like push up against him and say like, dude, you shouldn't be listening to this crap. You're smarter than this type of thing. And I think like seeing him in that space where he's breaking, like one of my favorite things in the whole movie is him when he's talking about the ragtag stampede. He's legit as they come. Like that moment to me where he like kind of breaks and is laughing while I said like that. Every time I see that, I'm just like, oh, that is like that's the distillation of the perfect like this guy has been very scary, but also in this moment you feel his like weakness and innocence, and it's like hilarious, but it's fucking sad and scary, but it's hilarious. I feel like when you can tap into those, and it's not easy, and my sense of humor is a lot different. There's a lot of fart jokes in this one, not a lot, maybe like two, but some would argue too many. But that's just I don't know, man. I like weird, quirky stuff like that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So we're kind of wrapping things up. We love a double feature on Screams from the Basement, and I don't want to spoil the specific subgenre that this is in. So my double feature question for both of you is, if you were gonna pair HELLCAT with another like single location horror film, what single location horror film would you pair with HELLCAT for an ultimate double feature?
I mean, to me, the obvious answer would be like 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's, but I would also say like, don't do 10 Cloverfield Lane because it might be too similar and you might not be a good one. But yeah.
I think by the third act, those movies are like HELLCAT and 10 Cloverfield Lane are very different. I think you're safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be the easy one, and because we don't have enough time for me to mull this over like too deeply. But yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I draw blanks on this, but for some reason the movie that's coming to my mind, which I don't think is one location, but predominantly one location, is You're Next.
Oh yeah. No, that's a great pick. Yeah.
Okay, maybe
that's basically one location, just a big ass location.
Yeah.
With a badass final girl too.
So. Yeah. Like we're getting the strong family.
That's the theme. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one.
I love that. Yeah, either one of those double features would be great.
Great question. I love that.
Yeah, that's good. I wish I wanted that question earlier so I could think and have a better answer. I think Dakota's answer is
like,
oh man, it was Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs. Wow, yeah, that would be a choice too.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Anyways, you guys, I absolutely loved HELLCAT. This was such a fun surprise of a movie, and congrats on the upcoming release, and can't wait to see what both of you do next. So thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, and I love your shirt. I love your wig owl.
I love that we have that connection now. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.